Ah, man, it's so great to finally have the sexy vampire show back. This episode of Vanitas was absolutely phenomenal. And I know you may be asking, why are you covering Vanitas? You didn't do it for the first 12 episodes, and you're right, I didn't. But I watched the show, and I was like, I just have to cover this weekly. I know it's probably not going to get a lot of views. It's not going to be a very popular series week to week on this channel. I hope I'm wrong about that, but I still want to cover it anyways because I think it's just really good. So, hi to the 200 viewers watching this. How you doing? Part of the small club. Anyways, about this episode though. This episode was pretty good. A lot of stuff happened in it. Of course, we had a whole thing about this beast of Gavaudin? Gavaudin? I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm gonna be honest. We had a lot of stuff on a new character named Astolfo, which we'll talk about that in a moment as well. Lots of funny stuff with Noe and Vanitas. Vanitas was great in this episode. Of course, Jane was in this episode. We're definitely gonna talk about her. And a new set of characters, one of them being named Chloe, so we're just going to talk about all about that in this video. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So the episode begins with Dante arriving to tell Vanitas that the beast of Gavaudin, I don't know how to pronounce that, so if somebody in the comments below could help me out with some of these pronunciations, that'd be really nice. Tells him basically, Vanitas, that, hey, this thing is real and it exists. I think what's funny about this though is that Vanitas seems rather unfazed by this. He's like, right, let's go deal with it. I love that stuff. I love Vanitas. He's so good in this series. He's so funny. Then, as they're going to get on the train to go where they need to go, Noe bumps into a dude, and this dude seems pretty sussy. Of course, we find out later on this dude's actually named Astolfo, but now they are on a wagon, and I love this scene because Vanitas is talking to Noe like, aren't you cold? Like, don't you hate being in this wagon? And it turns out that Vanitas is a really highly sensitive person, especially to the cold. This plays in later when snow starts to fall and he gets really cold and they all and they all have to warm him up. It was so great. God, this show is so funny. But I think it's important here that we mention that they realize that the enhanced humans are probably here, which turns out to be the truth there, because I mean, why wouldn't they be? They're trying to hunt down this beast that has killed, historically speaking from these stories, over 100 women and children. I mean, I like the description they use when they go into actually what this beast looks like. It's got sharp claws, it's covered in fur, it resembles a wolf in many ways, and there's also a witch in the forest, which, one of these, or maybe both of them, could be curse bearers. I mean, obviously, I think it's the beast, which is most likely the curse bearer here, but the way they describe this is actually pretty scary and horrifying when you think about it. What we actually get is actually, in my opinion, even more horrifying than what they described. So Dante, Noe, Vanitas, Johanne, they are all in the forest, and Noe starts to remember how he used to play with Dami in the forest, and it reminds him of that, which, by the way, no Dominique in this episode. I was very sad about that. She's also one of the best girls in this series. I think I said in my video, my review of the case study of Vanitas, which came out a couple days ago, check it in the cards in the upper right, or at the end screen, I said that second best girl was Amelia, and Amelia is best girl, but Dominique, she's like tied with Jane easily, but it's a whole other conversation. Noe sees tree nuts. I shouldn't laugh at this. I'm 26 years old. I'm not a child, but it was just so funny the way that they said it, the way that this scene was just played off. It was so great. So Noe, as is Noe does, he just runs off like a child, like a kid. And it was just like, what is this show, man? This show can be so serious and so dramatic and so, especially with the vampire stuff, super even sexual at times. And then you have scenes with Noe where he's just this innocent, wholesome being. He runs off and at one point Noe literally hits his head on a branch. And I'm just like, how do you not see the branch? And the way they presented it was just absolutely phenomenal, absolutely hilarious. Studio Bones has done wonders with this series, in my opinion. They absolutely have made this series absolutely just hilarious. But I also like this scene as well because Dante comments on how Vanitas is much nicer to Noe, and they didn't split up, which Dante thought they would. And yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense here because you would expect the way, especially that Noe would act around Vanitas, that Noe would be the one to split up. But, you know, obviously with the last couple of episodes and what we got there, it doesn't seem to be the case. Noe, at the very least, seems to be a little bit more curious of Vanitas. Of course, he wants to drink his blood, and there's the stuff with Ruthven. Reuven? I don't know how to pronounce it. I apologize. So there was this stuff with that, and it really just goes to show that their bonding, their relationship is obviously way more improved than what it was, you know, in the last couple episodes. And I mean, you think about what happened in episode 1 and episode 2 and how they thought of each other, and it's way different, you know. It's like, it seems they're actually growing to be really good friends at this point, which is actually really nice to see because they definitely fit each other, in my opinion. Vanitas tells Yohane to not let Noe go, and Yohane's like, I don't know where he went. He disappeared. And then you just see Vanitas turn around in Moe blob form and just yell, "Noe!" Dude, this show is hilarious. I'm sorry. It makes me laugh. So, of course, you have Noe and Myrrh get lost in the forest, and I'm just watching this. And they play it off like rather seriously by the end of this little scene here, but I'm just like, of course this would happen. It's Noe. It's innocent Noe and, well, Myrrh. It's just so funny. I don't know. There's something about Noe and Myrrh getting lost in a forest because they let their eyes off Noe for 1 second. That's just hilarious to me. I think what's even funnier is when Noe realizes he's lost, he immediately goes, "Is this the power of the witch?" And I know what they were trying to do here. I know what was happening here, but it's just funny that Noe getting lost, like, think about it. What's even more funnier here is that if Noe gets lost and he blames it on a witch, that's comedic gold, my friends. But anyways, so it's snowing all of a sudden, and this really reminded me of another Katakawa property anime. We're not going to talk about it, but it just reminds me of that. Vanitas realizes, along with Dante and the rest of them, that they may have time traveled because what they're seeing is a bunch of what looks to be soldiers of some kind, noblemen or whatever, that are definitely not dressed in the same manner that they are. And that's the one thing that I immediately noticed when I first saw this. I was like, wow, their clothes are like not what they should be here. Like, the sexy vampires are dressed really sexy, and these dudes are dressed in normal like soldier attire. Like, what's going on here? From like a totally different time period. So the beast then shows up, and it is massive. Like, holy crap. I did not expect this thing to be as big as it was. When they described it, I was like, oh, it's gonna be like, you know, as big as like a handful of trees, right? It's bigger than the trees. It's bigger than like 20 trees. It is huge. Like, I have in my notes here, massive in all capital letters, and it's underscored several times. It is that big. So Vanitas starts to run away from the beast because the beast literally wipes out all the soldiers with one swipe from his massive paw, and Vanitas is about to have the same thing happen to him, and Jane comes out of nowhere and saves him. I thought this was nice symbolically, as, you know, well, because, you know, we know their relationship. It's rather complicated, but they do seem to like each other a lot, and I think it's pretty cool that, you know, based off what we saw in the second episode, I guess as well, maybe the first episode, or am I thinking of episode 2 and 3? I'm forgetting the order of events here, but you get my point. I think that now they've come a long way to where Jane is saving Vanitas is actually pretty cool to see that. I like that, and I did not expect her to be here in this like season, like, at all, but she is, and boy, am I happy for it. I actually realized, so I've only watched the dub for this. I haven't watched the sub for this. This is my first time watching sub for Vanitas, and I was like, man, her voice sounds like Ren Tosaka for some reason, and it sounds way different in the dub. Like, her voice sounds much more mature, I would say, whereas the voice in the sub sounds, you know, a little bit more youthful. That's the best way that I could put it, a little bit more higher pitched, whereas the dub, it's more lower tones. And I was like, well, she sounds like Ren Tosaka. I wonder if the VA for Ren Tosaka plays her. No, it's Inori Minase. That was really surprising. I did not expect that. She sounds way different from Itsuki from Quintessential Quintuplets, or what is the other show that she's in? Hestia. She sounds way different, in my opinion, from those shows, which is, I don't know, pretty cool. And she's also yelling too, so there is that. Noe then, once again, runs into the boy from earlier. This boy kills a bunch of soldiers, like, right in front of him. So then we figure out this this boy's name is Astolfo. He's the 12th paladin, honored with the title of Garnet, and he killed him because basically he was mistook as a woman by them and seemingly sexually harassed is what it was set up to be. So I mean, yeah, I think his character so far in this episode was rather interesting. I think it's funny when you have a character in the Fate series whose name is Astolfo with similar hair color, also a boy, is mistaken for a woman often, though. I mean, Astolfo's is way more overt. In my opinion, when I first saw Astolfo in episode 12, at the very end of the episode, I didn't think that was a girl at all. I was like, oh, that's a dude. So maybe that's just me though. Maybe it's because I've seen, like a billion anime and I know at this point, what to expect, but I don't know. So Astolfo is one of the enhanced humans and he seems kind of crazy though, like a little unhinged. I mean, all the enhanced humans seem a little unhinged. I assume it has to do with the injections they inject directly into their necks, which, if you think about it, it's probably not very healthy anyways to do that. We then learn that the beast is actually a beast that Jeanne failed to slay previously, so she has a little bit of some unsettled business between this beast and herself, which, I mean, holy crap, the fight between the beast and Jeanne in this episode was awesome. God, dude. I saw a lot of people in my comments on my review of the case study of Vanitas that came out a couple days ago. A lot of people were saying, Jeanne's cool and all, Jeanne's cool, like I get why you like her, everybody likes Jeanne, but like she didn't do a lot as much as she should. I kind of like the badass version of Jeanne more, and I think this episode definitely seems to have answered some of those criticisms I think some people have had about Jeanne in the series, at least what I've seen in my timeline. So that's pretty cool to see. I think that's rather expected though. It's rather obvious that Jeanne would have more of a serious role in this second half. I mean, to be honest, I literally just got done saying I didn't expect her to be in this season, but now that she is, it just makes sense to present her in a more serious manner because the first half was literally filled with her just being really adorable and moe and cute. Noe as well seems to have a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. He wants to go back and finish the fight with Astolfo, but he needs a weapon, but he doesn't have a weapon. So that's a Halo reference. A lot of you probably don't know that, but Vanitas stops him. So what the idea here is that Noe is already pretty injured. So what Vanitas does, his plan is to taunt him to just agony. So Vanitas is savage in this scene. He basically says, oh, you only got here because of your name. Oh, you look like a girl. All of these things, and dude, it gets Astolfo mad. I have never seen a person as mad as Astolfo in that moment. Astolfo, man, whew, I wouldn't want to meet him in a dark alley. Probably stab me or something. Instead, Noe is now tasked with stopping Jeanne, as they can't really kill the beast yet because they have to figure out, the curse and all of this, and they think that they could solve the curse for the beast at the very least, which, yeah, and that makes a lot of sense there. So he goes to stop Jeanne, blocks the big hand blast thing that she did, and has her in his arms. And is like, yo, we can't do this. And then Jeanne, with what a maneuver. She was quick. Immediately goes into like a leg choke, triangle choke thing. And I'm like, for one, hot. Number two, what a maneuver. And she's like, how dare you try to stop me? I have to kill this thing. At that point, I would be like, yes, ma'am, go ahead. I don't think I want to challenge Jeanne on anything. She's very badass. Then the magical mystery tour shows up, minus John Lennon apparently. Vanitas says charlatan. I'm just not sure what happens here. Literally, a circus shows up. It's pretty much like a circus, and apparently it has this draw, this power to basically what I think is make people lose their minds in a way. And Vanitas, of course, is like, I'm tired of this. Brings out the book, but it's basically sniped from his hand. Somebody threw a throwing knife of some kind, and the book escapes the grasp of Vanitas, and it cuts to black. And then at the very end of the episode, we see this girl named Chloe who looks like John Alter from Fate, and she's with this dude, and she's like, carry me, my legs are tired. And then the episode ends, and I'm like, who the F is this? Who the F are these two people? What the hell was going on here? Who threw that knife? What is going on in this episode? I have literally no idea what's going on with this ending here. It was crazy. It was like a fever dream. Like I said, it was the magical mystery tour. It showed up, and a bunch of LSD stuff happened. That's basically what happened, a bunch of LSD stuff. And I am more confused. I don't really have a lot of theories on it because it came out of so much out of nowhere. I guess my theory is that, you know, maybe Chloe threw that knife, and the book, when it left Vanitas's grasp, it did something to where it knocked everybody out, because that's the other thing, everybody's been knocked out. Or maybe it was the magical mystery tour itself that knocked people out. This is just insanity. I don't know what's going on. That being said, I think that this season is going to be really good for the case study of Vanitas. So if by chance you're watching this and you haven't seen Vanitas Part 1, go watch it and catch up. This is a really good series. Pretty much love all the characters so far. I'm really interested to see who Chloe and this other dude is. That's going to be really interesting. Why does she look like Jean Alter? Is it just Jean Alter? I don't know. We'll see, I guess, I suppose. Put down your comments, theories, concerns, criticisms so far of this season, of this episode, what you think about it, and just share your excitement with how exciting it is for Vanitas to finally be back. And as well, if you haven't already checked out my review of the case study of Vanitas, and if you're one of the 200 viewers that made it to the ending of this video, I appreciate you. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.